Welcome back. An ambitious railway budget is what Suresh Prabhu has just presented a short while ago. How much of it is achievable and what are some of the key highlights? Joining us now, Mukesh Bhatani from BMR, Jaideep Ghosh from KPMG and Ripesh Kumar from PwC. Let me come first to you, Ripesh, to get an overall sense of what you think the budget really has in store, both in terms of for customers and overall looking at the numbers. Do they really add up?
Thanks. I think, yes, as you rightly said, it's a very ambitious budget. The key issue is going to be the implementation. And within implementation, I believe the organizational capacity of railways to deliver, I would say 3 or 4 key themes. One is the customer experience, the enhanced customer experience. I think that's very, very important. Traditionally, railways looked at passenger side as something that is loss-making. I think, but what Suresh Prabhu is indicating is actually completely reimagining that. So I think that's going to be very, very important. Freight has been stagnating, the revenues have been stagnating, and therefore, given that nearly 70% of the revenues comes from freight, how do you actually increase that, by
So you think that the numbers that he's projecting really, let's talk specifically about the number he's talking in terms of revenue generation, 1.84 lakh crore rupees. Now, on the face of it, the budget looks very, very impressive, especially if we look at some of the initiatives that he may have announced, very customer friendly. He's talking, and he's touched upon in many ways the grand themes of the Modi government also, whether it's Digital India, Swachh Bharat, Make in India. But do you think, having announced so many customer schemes, the question will now really come on how soon and when can we see it actually being implemented on the ground, Jerry?
Yeah, I think this budget is based on these 4 pillars, which he articulated last year also, in terms of number 1, the customer experience, number 2, safety, number 3 will be the network in augmentation, capacity augmentation, and number 4 will be financial sustainability. I would think that, he's covered almost all those points in a comprehensive budget. The challenge, as we are seeing, probably are too many initiatives being launched, and even if, how one would implement with the stagnating revenues, slow down in economy, etc. With too many initiatives, one needs to see, how the implementation plan is, though he has announced many of those, restructuring internally. Overall, very comprehensive, definitely in the right direction.
Right direction, comprehensive. Mukesh Bhatani, let's get the big picture from you. The one thing that one always watches out for is, of course, any announcement on fares. We don't seem to have seen anything, which means fares remain unchanged completely. Is that good or bad?
Not surprising, because we had a 14% increase in 2014 budget and 10% increase last year. So I think with elections later this year, it would have been an extremely unpopular measure. And I did not anticipate that will happen. On the overall financials of the railway, if you really look at the trend, I think the railways has been consistently missing the targets on revenues. And I think the attempt, a very honest attempt that is being made, is to improve the passenger experience and improve the productivity insofar as the freight corridor is concerned. And everything that he announced today is to be able to enhance the overall confidence, so that from a medium to long term point of view, the fortunes of this important engine of growth is revived from a passenger standpoint and from a business standpoint. But he's really struggling. He's struggling because on one hand, he cannot raise the tariffs. On the other hand, the gross budgetary support that's coming in from the Finance Act is inadequate. And thirdly, the internal accruals are limited. That's the reason he talked about external financing. He talked about it in last year's budget also, but he said the external financing really comes in 3 ways. One, he's talking about the 1 lakh crore LIC. Second, he talked about the bilateral, though he did not get into specific, but I would imagine that this would be largely, Japan, bilateral funding that is coming. And third, he said, exploring other ways of international financing. And I think that's really going to be a challenge for him. So I think on an overall basis, I don't think he could have done anything better, but we need to really see the numbers. I just wanted to make one last point. Last year, he budgeted an aggressive 15% growth in the overall revenues of the railways. And that includes 16% on freight side. With the reduction in the manufacturing and the slowdown that we have seen,
those numbers are questionable.
I don't know to what extent.
Because in fact, in terms of revenue generation, we've seen a slowdown happen, and the numbers are really based on a huge uptick that we're going to see in revenue generation, and that's why the concern really that in a slowing economy, can we really see that?
One last point. Last year, he also talked about a 5-year investment plan, an ambitious 9 lakh crore. I did not hear any mention as to what has happened, but the other heartening part that he mentioned about is that just like you have an outcome for a union budget, he has an outcome for the railway budget. So I think we need to see the annexure that he was talking about to assess the outcome.
Okay, we'll get into the details and the fine print, but let's start getting some political reactions now. Madhu Yakshi, a Congress spokesperson, joins us. The overall big picture coming from our experts is that yes, there is concern about implementation, but he couldn't have done better. So all in all, a budget that is best given the current circumstances. Your thoughts?
It's a very disappointing. One is, good thing is he accepted there's a tepid growth in the last year in the railway budget. That itself shows that is inefficiency. If you look at I heard other gentlemen, the targeted growth of income of 1,11,000 excess crore, 11,852 crore, assuming that 8 to 9% of GDP growth, but by December 2015, it is 30,000 crores less, and I'm wondering what they're going to gain in these 3 months, whether they can recover that much of money. Then the second, they've shown that surplus budget of over 8,000 crore, by not spending obviously shows surplus, where there's revenue targeted was less than expected recovery, and indirect increase of over 21 months, they've almost 20% increase in the passenger fares. Now it says like, oh, he's not increasing any passenger fare. This is a double standard adopted by the Modi government, indirectly increasing passenger fares, freight charges, and right from cancellation charges doubled, platform charges are doubled, and he is not mentioned of any amenities for the handicapped and the senior citizens, though he's talking about increase of 50% quota of reservation in berths. But what about introducing new trains?
Right.
In the last 1 year, there's a 88% of less trains were introduced.
Okay, we will come back to some of those points, and we will be joined in by a BJP spokesperson to at least address some of those points that have been raised by you. But let me get back really to our experts here. Let's try and understand if many people have even started questioning whether there is a need to even present a railways budget. Is it really an activity? Is it really an event that doesn't yield very much? Can we say at least that seems to have changed because he's tried to make it a big bold budget in terms of announcements at least?
No, absolutely. I think and I would say it goes beyond just announcements. And I think the areas that he's touched are actually really very, very relevant. For example, changing the focus from purely freight to non-tariff revenues, because they have been relying primarily on freight, and now just the fact that they're looking at...
Just hold on to that thought. I'd like both of you to step in there. The fact that he said we don't want to tap on conventional sources of revenue. Freight has been a conventional source. We're seeing there's a slowdown in freight. We know that that's something that simply cannot fund the kind of investments he's talking about. How practical are the non-freight and the new avenues and revenues he's talking about? Do you think he's outlined that enough?
Yeah, absolutely, very practical. So not only in railways, in many businesses, this kind of models exist, wherein the end user or the customer, including the media business, do not really pay, but the service provider still gets the revenues, whether it's advertisement or whatever. So these models are prevalent internationally. I don't see any challenges, and there are many quick wins which can be implemented pretty soon.
Mukesh, would you agree?
Last year he had, out of the 183 crore revenue budget, he had, revenues of only 11 crores coming out of non-passenger and non-freight. So it's, in my view, really immaterial, at least if I look at last year's budget. I don't know how much he has been wanting to achieve this year. But I think monetization of assets is something that he spoke about last year. I don't know if there are additional revenue mobilization measures coming out of that. He didn't mention about it this year, but I think it's immaterial unless it is more than 10% of the projected revenues for next year. But I think he's trying to make a start by saying that there are avenues for exploring non-passenger fare and non-freight fare as revenue mobilization measure for the revenues.
Mukesh Patani, is there any one thing, any one theme or any one announcement, or even something as minor as a customer-friendly initiative that for you that really stands out in this budget? Something that you feel you're taking home and saying that this is something new, different, that he's managed to achieve this time around?
Well, overall customer experience, improving customer experience, I think that's something which is, close to his heart. He's been talking about various initiatives. Several were rolled out last year, and I think he's talking about taking it even further. And I think that's required And the benefits of all of that will not be visible in a year or two. I mean, you really need to up the confidence of the passenger from a experience standpoint, whether it's got to do with safety or it's got to do with facility, because over the years what has happened is that the freight traffic has moved to road and the passenger traffic has moved to air. I think what he's trying to do is bring back some of the sheen that has got lost over the years, insofar as confidence in general of railways, insofar as confidence of public is concerned, insofar as railway as a major urban infrastructure is concerned.
Let's look at the confidence of the stock markets and see how the markets are doing. The markets, in fact, have extended the decline. Now, they were almost flat when the railway minister had started giving a speech. They were in the green, but had slipped into red and then has seemed to have extended the decline. Sensex currently about 110 points in the red. We will be talking about specific rail stocks and giving you more updates on the markets. But Nipesh, it's important that Mukesh Bhutani is talking about the customer-friendly experience, because increasingly, and we will be going across to our reporters who will bring us views, what people really want is better services, and the railways is competing with airlines these days. They are in fact all right to even pay slightly higher fares, even if it means that you would have cleaner, safer trains with better amenities. So do you think he's in that sense focused on the area that requires that much needed attention?
I think absolutely. I think if you were to ask me one theme, I think that is traditionally we have been very asset focused, create asset. But I think what is really important is service delivery, how you actually deliver service based on those assets. So just the fact that the kind of initiatives that he's talking about and actually trying to make it more service oriented, whether it's passenger trains, whether it is in freight, I think is absolutely very critical to change the mindset and to deliver I would say the change in, or the reimagine the railway sector as such. I think that's very, very critical, because whether it's business, they require reliability of service to be able to do their business. Whether it's passengers, it's not just the a good train, but right from when you go to the station, actually buy the ticket, not just go to the station, and the in-train experience. So I think all that is linked, and I think I definitely see a clear move towards actually making it more service oriented, and therefore bring back the passengers, bring back the freight traffic. And also, as I said, I think another very important theme is the non-tariff part. I think that will really help push some of these initiatives.
And when you hear things like children's menu, you'll have diaper changing stations. He's talked about Wi-Fi in 100 new stations. Right. Talked about entertainment systems, automatic doors. Those are things people want to really hear. Now the challenge really would be that if you fail to implement it rather quickly, then you're back to the same question of how credible are some of those announcements.
See, he's trying to clearly transform the Indian Railways to a service-oriented, almost like a corporate entity, because in terms of organization structuring, internal audits, delegation of power, rolling out almost airline-type, offerings, and it's end-to-end, from ticketing over mobile, from buying platform ticket through handheld devices to in the platform Wi-Fi and inside the train experience. So I think directionally, again, as I said, it's absolutely right. What will help, and for instance, out of the 400 odd station redevelopment that was planned or announced in the past, 6 of them are kind of on some progress. So if we get at least those initial pilots up and running, few trains, few stations working pretty much in the next 6 to 8 months, then I think the confidence building will be far better than only making announcements at this point of time.
All right, will it go beyond making announcements to real confidence building? And how are customers, those train commuters, really reacting to some of those announcements that Suresh Prabhu has made today? We're going to come back to that with all our reporters from around the country in just a bit.
Well, mixed reactions from rail passengers in Chennai, both joy and disappointment. That's after the break.
And they will no longer be called coolies. In fact, they will now be called luggage assistants or sahayaks. On the other side of the break, more.
Local trains are the lifeline of Mumbai, and now there are 2 new elevated corridors for the harbour line. But more on this after a short break.